All right, let's jump right in. We spend a lot of time talking about the flashy, exciting parts of IT infrastructure. But today, we're going to talk about something that's way more fundamental, the absolute bedrock of your network, DNS. We all know it as the internet's phone book, right? It's that silent workhorse that just makes things connect. And with Windows Server 2025, that workhorse is finally getting a massive and frankly, long overdue upgrade.
But before we dive into all the cool new features, I want you to stop and ask yourself a serious question. Is that phone book, your phone book, actually secure? Because if we're being honest, for decades, the answer for most of us has been, not really. And in today's world, that's a huge vulnerability you just can't afford to ignore anymore.
Okay, just so we're all starting from the same place, let's do a quick refresher. DNS, the domain name system, is what turns a simple website address that you can remember into the numerical IP address that computers need to find each other. It's a simple idea, but it is absolutely critical. Without it, the internet as we know it just wouldn't work.
So keeping that in mind, let's talk about the first, and I'd argue the most important change here. It is all about security. It's really clear that Microsoft is doubling down on tackling some of the oldest, most persistent security holes that have been part of DNS from the very beginning.
And when you see it side by side like this, the difference is it's night and day. On one side, you have the old way, traditional DNS. Your queries are sent out in plain text, totally unencrypted. That means anyone between you and the server could be snooping on what sites you're visiting. Worse, they could hijack the response and send you somewhere malicious. Now compare that to Server 2025, where everything is encrypted, private, and its integrity is verified.
So how does all this security magic happen? Well, the main technology making it possible is called DNS over HTTPS, or DOE. The best analogy is this. Old DNS was like sending a postcard. Anyone who handles it can read the whole message. DOE, on the other hand, is like putting that message inside a locked, tamper-proof security envelope. It wraps your query in the same encryption we use for secure websites, and then it sends it over port 443, so it just blends in with all your other web traffic. It basically becomes invisible to eavesdroppers.
Okay, so privacy is a huge step forward, but that's only half the story, right? What about making sure the answer you get back is actually legitimate? Well, that's where DNSCC comes into play. Think of it like a digital, tamper-proof wax seal on the response. It cryptographically proves that the IP address you received is the real deal, straight from the source, and that no one has messed with it along the way. So DOH gives you the privacy, and DNSCC gives you the authenticity. It's a powerful one-two punch for security.
All right, security is locked down. That's fantastic. But what's the next big challenge that pretty much every IT pro is dealing with right now? You guessed it, the reality of hybrid environments. Our infrastructure isn't just sitting in our own data centers anymore, it's spread out everywhere, from on-prem to the cloud.
And this creates a classic headache, doesn't it? How do you get that server in your local rack to find a brand new service you just spun up in Azure and have it happen seamlessly, as if they were sitting right next to each other? Just getting name resolution to work across these different worlds can be a huge operational nightmare.
The solution here is a much tighter integration with Azure DNS. See, Windows Server 2025 is now built with features like advanced conditional forwarding. This basically makes your local DNS server smart. It learns to recognize queries for your cloud resources and knows, hey, I shouldn't handle this, I'm going to forward this straight to Azure DNS. It's like having a brilliant receptionist who knows exactly where to route every single call. The end result is a single, unified naming system that works effortlessly across both worlds.
Now, let's move on to our third and final pillar. And this is where DNS starts to get really intelligent. It's evolving way beyond just a simple lookup service. With a feature called DNS policies, it's becoming a smart traffic director for your entire network.
So think about it. The problem with old-school DNS is that it was kind of dumb, a one-size-fits-all approach. If a user in London and a user in Tokyo both asked for the same website, they'd both get back the exact same IP address, probably for a server in, say, New York. That just doesn't make any sense. It's slow, it's inefficient, and it's definitely not how modern, globally distributed applications should work.
This right here is why DNS policies are such a game changer. I mean, just look at these examples. You can literally create a rule that says, if a DNS query comes from a European IP address, send them to our European server. Boom, better performance, lower latency. Or how about after 6 p.m., all traffic gets routed to our backup data center so we can perform maintenance on the primary. You can even do things like apply rate limiting to fight abuse. This is fine-grained, context-aware control that just wasn't possible before.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's boil it all down. What you need to understand is that the DNS in Windows Server 2025 is not just a small incremental update. No way. This is a fundamental reimagining of what this core network service can and frankly should be doing in a modern IT environment.
Here's your new DNS toolkit, the 3 things to remember. First, it's fortified, it's secure, thanks to DNS over HTTPS and DNSSEC. Second, it's built for the hybrid cloud, seamlessly bridging that gap between your on-prem world and Azure. And third, it's intelligent, giving you that granular, smart control over your traffic with DNS policies.
And that kind of leaves us with a final, pretty exciting thought. We've seen DNS evolve from a simple phone book into a secure, hybrid-aware traffic cop. So, what's next? As our infrastructure becomes even more automated and distributed, what's the next logical step? Are we going to see DNS making decisions based on real-time application health, or maybe even network costs? The foundation for that future is being laid right now, and it's going to be very, very interesting to watch.